Now, Chairman Dan is gone, of course, and I've got to say he goes out a winner. All these enemies trying to claim his scalp are kidding themselves. They lost, he won. He won 3 elections. He goes out at a time of his own choosing on top. Now, I don't agree with him. I don't agree with him on anything much at all. Not on sucking up to China, not on being so needlessly cruel to his people during the pandemic, not on leaving his state with crippling debt and an energy crisis, not on the woke social agenda that he embodied, not on his dodgy use of taxpayers' money for electioneering campaigns and never accepting accountability, not on breaking his word like cancelling the Commonwealth Games and like pulling stumps less than a year into a term he promised to serve in full. But credit where it's due, this bloke was a born leader. He controlled his party and his state with utter certitude. He knew what he wanted, even when he was wrong. And he was a commanding presence in the media, often talking over them to the public, as the best politicians do. Andrews is a bloke with the wrong ideas and the wrong instincts, but the advocacy and political skills to deliver on them. Perfect for the hard green left, anathema to the mainstream right of centre. So why did he do so well electorally? Well, I think 2 things stand out. One is the perennial weakness of the opposition he faced. Politics is a 2-horse race, and you don't have to be brilliant, just better than the alternative. And secondly, these difficult times suited him. COVID suited his authoritarian instincts, and sadly, governments, bureaucrats and the media fuelled an irrational fear during COVID that allowed huge parts of the population to meekly accept the draconian rules. So many people accepted it, they believed it was Daniel Andrews that was keeping them safe. And they gave Andrews credit for that. Wrongly, in my view, of course, but they did. There's no doubt about that.
Playgrounds, basketball courts, skate parks and exercise equipment, despite the fact that it's outdoors, will be closed. There's a whole bunch of people down the Ryback Beach last night who thought the best thing to do was to go and watch the sunset. I'm sure it was a beautiful sunset. But that's not in the spirit or in the letter of these rules. No removal of masks to consume alcohol outdoors. So you will no longer be able to remove your mask to drink a cocktail at a pop-up beer garden on a footpath as part of a pub crawl.
Just how anyone could vote for someone who dictated terms to them like that, so authoritarian, so anti-democratic and so pointless, well, it is just beyond me. And now he leaves the mess for someone else to deal with. Victoria is in for a tough reckoning in coming years. That's why he's cutting and running now, of course, which leaves us with the reality that all the main political leaders during the pandemic have gone. The Labor ones by their own choice, Liberals tossed out by the electorate. Voters tossed out Stephen Marshall in South Australia, Dominic Perrottet in New South Wales and Scott Morrison federally, of course. While in Western Australia, Mark McGowan left after winning re-election and now Daniel Andrews has done the same. Only Anastasia Palaszczuk in Queensland remains. What chance Palaszczuk resigns within months before Queensland election, which is due just over a year from now? What chance she toddles off before facing that election next year? We will see. But this is all a finger in the face of those of us who have weathered the pandemic, the 25 million of us who have weathered the pandemic response in this country. The federal government's sham of an inquiry is not a royal commission, does not include the states and does not mention human rights. The states have not launched proper inquiries either, and the leaders who implemented the responses are all slinking off. We need a proper examination. We need to learn the lessons. Surely, with all the leaders moving on, the new leaders should push for a proper National Royal Commission in conjunction with all the states to find out exactly what we got right and what we got wrong. With Andrews gone, isn't that easier? It's certainly what the country needs, and it's certainly what voters deserve.